If you've ever worked in a busy commercial kitchen, you know there is almost zero time to stop and read. Yet when seasonal staff are hired, they are usually handed a single, heavy binder packed with all the restaurant's recipes. It's hard to read a tiny font while trying to prep ingredients on a hot line, and because there's only one master copy, the cooks can't take it home to study before their shift. Plus, many new seasonal hires speak primarily Spanish, but that massive recipe book is printed entirely in English. That means bilingual managers have to stop what they're doing during a dinner rush just to translate the steps for their team. So we have two groups of people who need help: the cooks, who need a quick way to check a recipe, and the managers, who need an easier way to train their staff. Relying on a single physical paper binder slows down the whole kitchen and makes it really difficult for managers to coach their staff effectively. To fix this, we can turn that heavy binder into a mobile web application called Pellito Hub. It's designed specifically to be easily readable on a smartphone screen right at the prep station. Since restaurant turnover can be high, no one has to create or remember a personal account. All the cooks just share a single line cook login to get straight into the system. Once they're in, a cook can quickly search for a specific dish, pull up the mobile-friendly recipe, and get exactly what they need before service starts. But reading isn't enough to make things stick. The app automatically pulls recipe details to generate 5-question multiple-choice quizzes for self-testing. If a cook aces those, it offers 3 harder bonus questions, building confidence at their own pace. Sometimes a cook just needs one specific detail, fast. The app includes an AI assistant named Pellito. A cook can type a simple question like, "How long do I sear the salmon?" And the assistant reads the recipe and answers right away. And to solve the language barrier, there's a simple toggle that translates the entire app, menus, recipes, and quizzes, into Spanish with one tap. By putting these tools directly onto the phones already in their pockets, cooks can learn the menu on their own time, and managers can stay focused on running the kitchen. While the cooks are studying, the training manager logs into their own separate view. This dashboard tracks anonymous data: quiz attempts, most viewed recipes, and the top 5 most missed questions. If everyone misses a question due to a recipe change, the manager can update ingredients right there. The correction appears instantly on every cook's phone. To make all this run smoothly, the software is built using a modular architecture. That just means it's constructed from separate, independent parts rather than one tangled web of code. A central database holds recipes, flowing outward to the quiz engine, AI assistant, and manager's dashboard. Because they're separated, developers can test the quiz generator on its own or swap the database for a more powerful one without breaking the application. Seeing exactly what the staff struggles with lets the manager step in and coach specific skills, rather than guessing where the team needs help. A system like this is built in careful, measured stages. This timeline shows the rollout. First, a prototype tests basic recipes and the AI on a local database. Next, we upgrade the database and add Spanish translations for a bilingual app. Finally, voice navigation lets cooks hear steps hands-free. By putting the training material where the cooks can easily read, test, and translate it, the kitchen staff learns the menu faster. And just as importantly, the managers get their own time back. Instead of a heavy, static binder sitting in the corner, the kitchen gets a smart, trackable tool that actively helps the whole team succeed.
So welcome, this is Stitch. This is what I use to develop the UX and UX flow for an application. I start with text documents. You can notice they have a nice Photoshop-like canvas here. Start with some text documents. The one that I started with was actually this here. I'm gonna delete that. This is what I dropped in as the prompt. I had a very detailed UX system and design document, of course, created by Claude, to drop in here. When I first started to run the prompt, my initial prompt, Stitch returned with a few objects that were the base elements of the UX, and I always start with just a black and white palette. As I develop out the different elements of the website, all the different pages, the login screen. This is actually a recipe library with a quiz and a manager's dashboard that allows you to upload recipe data, allows you to learn the recipes and test yourself on the recipes. So there's different login screens. There's different screens depending on whether you're viewing, all of the recipe library, or looking at a recipe, or looking at the quiz of a recipe. And of course, once I had all the different objects, screens that I wanted, I updated the coloring and palette style. We'll just zoom in here real quick and kind of go through these to kind of show what we have. You can see that this is the old manager's dashboard. We're going to delete that while we're here. You see you have a login screen for the black and white login screen. It's now one of the login screens is like so, slightly colored. You have the recipe, so you'll notice too, this is an old step list. If we go to the new step list, we can see for a cheeseburger, step 1, prep toast, season the patty, grill, put the cheese, assemble the burger, start a quiz if you want. So another login screen, which we want to keep that one and get rid of. Want to change those two. All right, so we're going to keep this under 10 minutes. But you can see how each of these is essentially a page in the website. And then what you do, once you have had conversations, you can see they're listed over here on the left. You can basically select an object or multiple objects. It'll add them to the chat. You can ask a question, ask for modification, and it'll update the images. Once you have all the images that you need, you select all those images, and you're then given a little toolbar of extra options when you select images. One of them that you want to do is generate instant prototype. And this is actually the magic that Stitch does, is it will generate a prototype application of all the different images that you select. So if we go into the prototype preview, and you can even make edits directly from this view. But you can see it loads the screens into the prototype that you've selected. You can click on the actual screens. You can actually click on the buttons, and like I said, it's stitched together these screens so that you can actually kind of use it like you would an app. So you can go in, pretend to edit a recipe, pretend to edit the photo. Not all the buttons work, but you should see, pretty much what you need to save, publish, edit recipes. And then of course, when you get into the coding, you'll actually develop these, and make them workable. When since there's a different, when a cook lines in is different than a chef or a manager. So when the line cook logs in, they see a search bar, all their recipes. They can click on it, get to the recipe they want. Didn't go to the page that I want, though. That's fine. They see the steps to make the recipe. They can start their quiz, answer the quiz, submit the answer, go back to recipes, review mistakes. So pretty simple app. It's just a recipe library, some quizzes, and really focused on readability and in the future language support.